To one-shot this with one hand, so wish me luck. I'm going to show you guys how to add emulators to your Xboxes for XBMC4gamers. The first thing you're going to do is you want to hit the start menu and you want to go to settings. You also want to be plugged into your network. You want to go ahead and go into the downloader. So I have my Xbox currently connected to my local area network, so it's connected to the internet. If you want to get emulators, you're going to go here to the emulator menu. These are all the emulators that are already set up to run your Xbox. You can pick the ones you want to run. I personally think you just stick with the main ones. Stick with Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo, NES, etc. Sega 32X. But you can pretty much get whatever you want. It has a big selection here. The PlayStation runs okay. They don't really run the best. You got to understand it's just not the most best system in the world. But we can install, I guess, MAME is arcade games, etc. Let's say you wanted to put some, I kind of think the Atari games kind of suck, no offense. They're just kind of crappy games. But let's say you want to install the Atari 5200 emulator. You want to go and click download. I might need to install the new version. A lot of times if you're not connected, it will say you have to download the latest update. And it will check for an update, and it gives you like a new list. This is cool because you're always getting the latest updates. I probably should have checked before I started this video because now it's going to take longer. So it's going to go through. You see, I need a new version of the URL downloader, so I'll go and get that. That's pretty normal if you haven't updated in a few days. You only have to do it once, but this is going to get a Google Drive link and get you the proper links to all the different downloaders. This is actually good because sometimes sites go down or URLs change or whatnot. So you definitely want to make sure you have the URL downloader updated. This is pretty common. I haven't downloaded anything in this Xbox in like a week or so. So let's say I want to install the Atari 5200 here. So it will actually pop up again and ask me to download it. Now it has a new link. So we'll go back. So now we have to go back to emulators. And then let's say 5200. So now we have the new link. Now I'll hit download. And it'll ask me where I want to download this to. This is where it's important to know where to put everything. So like I said, you want to make sure you set your hard drive up correctly. I personally like getting bigger hard drives. It's going to say, do you want to install it? You can hit yes. And this is where it's important. I put everything on my F drive. All the emulators go into emulators, games go to games, homebrew to homebrew. If you don't have these folders, you want to make them. I like using XFAT Explorer 32. It's by far the easiest, so I'm actually going to put it in this emulator folder, and I'm going to go ahead and hit OK, because it's going to be its own emulator. And then after that, we'll download all our ROMs into the correct folder. And I'll walk you guys how to do that as well. It's pretty simple. So like I said, I recommend only installing there are other emulators you can install that you can download, but I would just stick with the stuff on the XBMC4gamers, all the stuff that support it. Just make sure you download everything in the correct directories. Like I said, Xbox games with the games, demos with the demos, homebrew with the homebrews, and emulators with the emulators. And we'll go over that in a second. This is a 15 megabyte file. It shouldn't take very long. And this will download it and install it for you. It does everything for you. Obviously, also, the bigger the file, the longer this takes. I also don't have an SSD on this. This is a normal, SATA fat drive. So it takes a little longer than a SATA drive. A SATA drive is actually, if you're going to build one, I highly recommend putting like a, SATA drive in these. Just makes everything run faster. This is going to take a second to install. Probably like a minute. We're doing it live, guys. Don't worry. Doing it live. While this is going, I'm going to see something here. Okay, cool. I probably should have picked something smaller. Let's try to make this video really short. I apologize. This is boring to watch, but it's got to install this. Almost there. Alright, now it's installed. We hit back. And now we can actually go to our file manager. So you can kind of see Everything's on the F drive. See, it's a bigger drive, 1.7 terabytes, F drive. These are all my different emulators. See how it has its own folder? The Atari has its own folder, Nintendo 64 has its own folder. Each one has its own folder. And now we want to go ahead and put the ROMs in the same folder as the emulator. So you're going to ask me, oh, how do you put the ROMs in the folder? Well, it's very simple. We're going to go back. We're going to go to the main menu. You're going to hit Start. See how it's connected to my network? This is the IP address that's on my house network. It's not my computer network. This is my home network. I don't really care if you have this IP. Good luck hacking it. It's not going to do anything. So this is my network. So what you're going to do is actually go over to your computer. So I have this hooked up to my computer. So I do a lot of different Xboxes. This is a 1.0. So real quick, it's going to be the username is going to be Xbox and the password is going to be Xbox. This is done by default. And we're going to put that same IP address. See how we have that same IP address is listed here? So once it says connected, your number is going to be different than mine. So remember that. So whatever this says, this number needs to be the exact same as this number. So whatever it says, this is using FireZilla program. It's free. So you want to create a new site. So let me show you guys the settings. You want to make sure you set it to FTP over TSF. Set the password to Xbox. I drop my controller. Set it to FTP file transfer. In advanced server type auto detect. Sorry, my finger's in the way. Transfer setting passive. Character set auto detect. That's all you need to do. So you hit connect and OK. It's going to make a new tab and boom, this is our Xbox. So you'll see it connected here. That's our IP address and this is our Xbox. And then we're going to go to our F drive. Remember we were doing the F drive? If you notice, the F drive is the same things. We have the emulator, the games, homebrew. What we just downloaded? We just downloaded Atari. What's here? The Atari. So now if I had Atari ROMs, I would go ahead and put them in this Atari ROM. A lot of times they give you a folder called ROMs, or you can make a new folder, or you can even put in the default folder here if you want. It's whatever your little heart desires. I personally like putting in ROM folders. See at N64, I have a folder called ROMs, and I put all the ROMs here. Pretty simple. So whatever it is, I usually put a folder, or sometimes if I'm lazy, I'll just put it in the default folder. So example, this Super Nintendo, and I think I have the Game Boy Advance. I think it's in the GBA folder. So it's in the GBA folder. See, all the ROMs are there. Boom. Same thing. Game Boy Color, I think this one I just put in the default folder. See, I just put it. As long as you either put in the default folder, as long as they're in the right folder. You don't want to have a different one. It's going to ask you where to link it. So you can make a folder called ROMs, or you can just put it in the default folder. This one's default NES. It doesn't really matter what you call it as long as you know where it goes. But so now I'm going to show you guys how to add ROMs. So adding ROMs is pretty easy. So what I did, these are, if I can do this correctly, these are Sega, I have Sega 32X. These are Sega 32Xs, and these are Pokemon. So what I want to do is we're going to do 732X. So we're going to just minimize all this because it's confusing, I know. So we're in our, again, we're in FTP. We go to our F drive, select the emulators, and I want to do my Sega 32X. And under here, you can make this bigger or smaller. I'm putting in the default. So we're going to put WrestleMania. All you do is you drag it over here, copy and paste it. And this is going to file transfer, and it will actually tell you the files are transferred or not. And then we just transferred WWF WrestleMania, the arcade game. Boom. That's all you got to do. Drag and drop. Drag and drop. And also make sure the names are not too long. If the names are too long, they won't take. And it does take a little bit of time to transfer these files. These are really small. They're like 1 megabyte. So if you're doing like a PlayStation game, it's going to take a long time. Or if you're doing like an Xbox game, it's going to take a long time. But as you see, I transferred my ROMs here into the right folder. So I have more games in the Sega 32X, right? And so now these are, let's say we want to do Game Boy. We want to do those Game Boy Color games, Game Boy Color ROMs. Game Boy Color. I have them all here, right? So this is Game Boy Color. We want to do the Pokemon games, Pokemon, Gold. So I'm just going to drag these 4 into our Pokemon folder. So I'm dragging all 4, and notice I'm just dragging and dropping. All you do is drag and drop, and I'll put all 4 in there. Boom. That's it. And the great thing about this, when you're done, we're still on our Xbox. It's still connected, right? I dropped the controller because I'm a smart guy. We're still connected. So I'm going to go hit it back. And now we go into our emulators. Remember we added those Sega 30C. It will add the Atari to our link because we just downloaded it. I'll add the artwork later for this. Don't worry. This is what happens without the artwork, and that's with the artwork. I will add it. Don't worry. So we did the Sega 32X, right? So let's see what ROMs are available now. Because remember we only had the 2, and we transfer those new ones like the WWF game or whatnot. So let's see what happens. So now we have our games. So now we need to select the game. So we're going to go to select game. And this is where you need to check. So the D drive, it's not going to the D drive. It goes to the default. I already set it up. So this has the Mortal Kombat and it showed the WWF game. Boom. See, that's the game we just added, the WrestleMania arcade game. And if you're ever curious, if you don't know where the games are at, This has a little system here. See where it says the D drive? You can actually hit A, and you can select where it's at. Remember, everything's in the F drive. F drive, emulators where we put everything, and you just make sure you select your right folder. So it's going to go in the Sega 32X default folder. And then once it goes in default folder, you can select your games. So it's a little more confusing for the XBMC4gamers. You just have to know where to put everything. I recommend organizing everything best you can, and then once the game's installed, you can launch the game. It's that easy. So this is the easiest way, in my opinion, to load emulators and ROMs is to FTP them over. You don't have to take your hard drive out. You don't do anything crazy. I would recommend you go to the Reddit ROM mega thread to get your ROMs. Make sure, honestly, you install ROMs of games you legally own. As you can see, it works great. Ready to wrestle, brother. Don't eat the clown. See? Working great. So we have Sega 32X on the Xbox. This is the best way to FTP games over. FTP is going to take a little bit longer, so just note that. And then when you're done playing, you hit the button, and I can either exit game, and this should relaunch. Boom. Exit game, we can go back. We can actually just go ahead and shut down my Xbox or return the launcher. Return the launcher. So we're going to quit. Yes. And this should go back into XBMC4gamers. It might take. I'm running on my computer monitor, so it might need to be switched over. Nope, perfect. See? Simple as that. So I recommend, if you want to run emulators, to put the emulators in the correct folders and to FTP everything over. You don't take the hard drive out. It makes it very easy. And then, yeah, it's good to go. That's how to FTP your favorite games over. Set up your ROMs this way with the artwork. It's your best bet. And if you want to do the artwork, run the artwork installer, and this will give you the good looking artwork like this. All right, hope you guys liked the video. If you have any questions, leave me a comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.